Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be exploring the concept of company identity.
Companies don't get to skip out on the ontological question of being. We're all always chasing after the concept of identity.
We hear companies talk about their DNA all the time, as if our DNA defines us. But what if it's our identity more than just our DNA? What is a company's identity? What's the story?
The concept of identity is rather complex in and of itself because it sits at a crossroads, combining philosophy, sociology, psychology, and even biology.
That's right, there are plenty of studies in all of these fields, but we won't be talking about them here. Our goal is to explore what identity means for a company.
But DNA doesn't mean much for a person. So what are people referencing when they talk about their company DNA?
Origins, where we come from, do play a role in identity, but it's hardly the only contributing factor. It's just one aspect of the multifaceted concept that is identity.
And a company's origin is its purpose, the reason it exists, the reason it was founded. Its origin is its mission. All companies have a purpose. Companies don't spontaneously spring to life.
Right, but a company's purpose isn't always made clear. Sometimes it's a simple intention.
It also contributes to meaning, which we're so often chasing after. But identity, as you said, can't be reduced to origins. It's also a construction. As Kanak leader Jean-Marie Tjibail likes to say, our identity is before us.
Exactly, identity is both a trip and a destination. A purpose, yes, the reason the company exists, but also the vision it has set for itself, which guides it on its way.
This vision is more or less its goal. You have an intention, but also a destination. That's what unites the crew, from the captain down to the lowliest deck swabber. It's what lends meaning to profit. Even pension funds try to cultivate it. That says something.
That's right. The CEO of BlackRock investment firm said in 2019 that purpose creates a crucial safeguard against actions that go against the interest of stakeholders. A more balanced take on business.
Or more opportunistic. There's always the risk of cynical reappropriation of any topic that can mobilize people en masse. But let's go with balanced.
So, we have an intention and a destination, which both play into a company's identity. Where am I from, and where am I going? A mission and a vision.
Since travels are always full of obstacles, you can't do things at any cost or however you please. A company's identity is also about the principles that guide our choices and actions along the way. In other words, the values that unite us.
Yes, as you said, life isn't always easy out on these choppy waters. The values that bind us constitute the third aspect of identity, the cultural aspect. And culture cannot be dictated, it is first and foremost the result of who we are and our shared experiences.
The mission and vision lay a framework. But of course, a company is alive. You can't simply shout your values to the crew as guiding principles when you're leaving the harbor. Values must be embodied on a daily basis.
Mission, vision, and values also impact the employee experience.
Do the decisions we're making line up with the common good? Is the common good the mission and the vision, in short, the project? Or not?
And if it's not, the lived identity feels like a betrayal with respect to the presented identity. In other words, the resulting dissonance negatively impacts employee well-being.
To recap, company identity is a complex and multifaceted concept. It can be broken down into three aspects. 1. The mission, in other words, where I come from, my purpose. 2. The vision or project, where I'm going. And 3. Values, meaning what unites us and guides us during our travels. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short.
Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.